That's iconic. That's iconic. Iconic. Icon, Monarchy icon, master everything once the mic's on. Icon, get icon. Hakamadi like a pair of tights on. It's iconic sounds, iconic songs, iconic news, conversations, iconic views. Talk to three, hang out with the iconic dude. Right here on Gaz FM, the iconic group. Dollar Mac and be iconic too. Dollar Mac, and show 'em what iconic do. It's iconic. It's iconic. It's iconic. Iconic.
Bold and better with Dollar Mac. 12 to 3.
All right, it's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. 12:31 is your time. You are on Iconic. My name is Dollar Mac. Thank you so much for joining us. I roll with them Homukoto until 3 o'clock this afternoon on Gabs FM. UK introduces visa requirements for Botswana nationals. Joining us, the British High Commissioner to Botswana, His Excellency Gilles Antic Knapp, joins us this hour. Your Excellency, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Dollar Mac, and with your listeners.
It's great to have you. Thank you so much for always making time and talking to us on Gabs FM. We really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Sad news, if I may say, about the UK introducing visa restrictions to for the nationals of Botswana. Firstly, can you confirm if this is true?
Yeah, Dollar Mac, this is true, and I do understand the disappointment from Botswana and the shock on this decision. This was a really difficult decision for the United Kingdom government, and it was a decision made solely on migration and border security reasons. Since 2022, there's been a high and sustained number of Botswana nationals arriving in the UK as visitors and then subsequently claiming asylum. And this indicates a misuse of the immigration system. And this is why this difficult decision was taken.
Your Excellency, why did the UK not do thorough investigations on the reasons that are advanced by individuals before approving asylum applications this whole time? You have an embassy here, correct? And you'd think with your embassy here, stuff like that could be avoided, like abuse of system, easily by simply checking the validity of reasons that are advanced. Visas are always approved or denied in individual basis.
Yeah, so Dollar Mac, before the implementation of this visa regime, to visit the UK, you didn't need a visa. That means no one was checking your reason for visiting the UK. So that scrutiny was not possible. The reason why we've put the visit visa in place is to ensure that there's proper scrutiny. The introduction of a visitor visa is designed to support exactly safe, secure travel for Botswana whilst ensuring that the UK's border remains protected. So in fact, what you're saying, that is what a visa regime will do to ensure the proper scrutiny is in place. For those Botswana that we want to come to the UK, we have deep, long ties between our two countries. Whether you're a visitor, whether you're a student, whether you're a worker, we want you to come to the UK. We want to welcome you, and we've got a really sort of streamlined system to help you do that when you visit. And I can talk more about that later.
I mean, looking at a total population of Botswana and a number of asylum applications that they have received and approved, can you in a way say it has really crippled the UK economy?
So let me just go back, Dollar Mac. I think what you're talking about is between January 2022 and June 2025, there were 1,300 or so Botswana who claimed asylum in the UK. That does not mean that they were granted asylum. That just means they claimed asylum. That means people who travel to the UK on the pretense of a visit and then claimed asylum. In fact, the asylum grant rate is very, very low. I won't go into the specifics on that, but it's very, very low. But what we want to do is to ensure that only genuine visitors come to the UK, whether that's as a visitor, whether that's as a student, or whether that's on a work visa. And the visa system is just to ensure that everyone who comes to visit is coming for a genuine reason.
All right, Your Excellency, if I may just ask this one, how does this decision align with the UK's commitment to human rights, international protections, and fair asylum processes?
Yeah, absolutely. So this doesn't impact our asylum process at all. This is a fair and open process that we have. Visit visas are required for many countries globally. It's something that is interrogated frequently, kept under review, and it's open for all to apply. We have a system by which applications are assessed fairly, assessed professionally by people who do this day in and day out. So we want to ensure that the right genuine visitors are coming to the UK, and that is the absolute lion's share of all Botswana coming to the UK, and we want that to continue. And that's why we're putting a lot of effort into making sure that the visa process and the visa system here in Botswana is efficient, fair, and gets everyone who wants to visit to the UK.
Absolutely. And you did say, of course, that it's those who have genuine reasons to come to the UK are going to be granted exactly that. Any exceptions to the visa at all, or does it apply to everyone? For example, tourism, business, study. How are we going to make sure that we don't make it a blanket?
Yeah,
policy?
Well, that's right. So everyone needs a visa now, with the exception of the head of state, of course. But every national needs a visa if they want to come. You go to gov.uk and you look at what visa is most appropriate for your purpose, whether you are going on holiday, you're visiting, whether you're wanting to study. So that's how we do that. And I can talk a little bit about the system and how it works, how easy it is, where it is, because I'm sure there's many listeners who are planning to go to the UK, perhaps over Christmas.
Precisely.
We want to ensure that they can get there, they can get there in time, and they can enjoy a fantastic stay.
Yeah.
And did you have any conversations with Botswana government, and what was the response when you engaged them, if you did engage?
Yeah, so let me just say before that, I mean, we recognise that this decision is disappointing, right? There's no hiding from that. I totally recognise that. But this is not a reflection of the strength of the bilateral relationship that we have between our two countries. I think case in point, His Honour the Vice President is in London this week, speaking to UK investors about how UK investors can get involved in Botswana's economic transformation program to diversify the economy and to create jobs. His Honour is there right now. They're talking about that is the meat of our relationship. How can we work together to grow our two economies, to create jobs, to secure the future for the youth? So do we have conversations with the government of Botswana? Absolutely, yes. I mean, we have a very strong relationship with the government here, and migration issues is something which we cooperate very much on with the relevant authorities, and something we've been continuing to discuss, and indeed will continue to discuss. A visa imposition is something which is kept under review by our government, and we will continue to engage with the government on border security issues.
Absolutely. Should I?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, the news guy.
All right. Well, you did mention, Your Excellency, that of course the system is simple, and Botswana can fairly just go there if at all they are looking to travel at any time. So, are there any cost implications? Maybe just, and how long would it take? Maybe just take us briefly through a few of the details that you can share with us at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can share all the details because you can go and apply today if you want. So first step is you go online, gov.uk. Just put that into Google, gov.uk. Apply to come to the UK. All of our details are on our socials, really easy to find. You fill out the form, select what visa you think is most appropriate for your visit. You pay a fee. I'll come on to the fees shortly. Then what happens is you get an appointment at the Visa Application Centre. We have a permanent visa application centre at Game City. That is now open 5 days a week. It was previously open only 3 days a week. And we have set up a temporary surge capacity at the Hilton Garden Inn in CBD. So we've got two centres. You can choose from those. You can get your appointment. You go down, you do your biometrics. That's a fingerprint, a photo, and then you hand over your passport. You then have to wait 15 working days. That is the SLA, the service level agreement that we have. and your passport will be coming back to the visa application center. You'll get an email saying your passport's ready. You collect it, you go, you travel.
That's if you're granted, right?
That's if you're granted.
Yeah.
Maybe I can say a little bit a little bit to your listeners about the granted nature. I mean, what our visa officers look at is, do you have a genuine reason? Do you have the funds to support that visit, whatever length it is? And are you what are your personal circumstances? Will you return? Will you return?
Right.
In fact, they're in broad categories. I'm not a visa expert. We have many experts that deal with these decisions day in and day out.
How much does it cost?
So there's different prices, but let me just talk about probably the most popular one, which will be the 6-month visit visa. The cost of that is £203.50.
How much is that in Pula?
In Pula, give or take, that's around 4.5 thousand Pula.
Okay.
There are also other options for sort of business travelers, those who've got family in the UK that go frequently. There's a 2-year, a 5-year, and even a 10-year option. We've got a flexibility of options there. Of course, different prices to suit the needs of different customers. I was on the phone until very late last night, talking to many of my contacts in government, private sector, civil society, just asking clarification. And I was giving assurances that, we've got this system. It's open 5 days a week. It's going to be smooth. We're going to keep that under close scrutiny, so we can increase capacity if needed, if the demand is high, and make sure that people people know where they need to go.
If you just joined us, you are on Iconic. We're joined by the British High Commissioner, His Excellency Gills Antic-Knapp joins us this hour to talk about the new introduced visa requirements for Botswana nationals to visit the UK. What about those that are on transit? Do you need a visa? Just backtracking a little bit. Do you need a visa for that if you are passing through?
Yeah, so this is where we get into the small print of the press release that's put out, and this detail is all on our socials. But there is a 6-week transition period, which applies to those that have pre-booked travel before the rule change. So if you have pre-booked, if you've already got your ticket, you have an electronic authorization already to travel, which was the previous system we had in place, and you're doing it within the 6-week period, then that's absolutely fine. With regard to the what's called the direct airside transit visa, this does get a bit technical. So what we have online, again, gov.uk, apply to come to the UK, is the you just Google that, it'll come up, or look at our socials. There's what's called a checking tool online, so you can type in where you're going, where you've come from, what kind of documents you've got, including asking what visas you've got for other countries. It's a little bit complicated, which is why we've got this good tool online, and you can see whether you need an airside transit visa.
Absolutely. I'm very interested, Your Excellency, to understand, would there be any conditions in future that we could maybe meet to actually have this reversed or revised at any point in time, also considering maybe what action is being taken to correct what set off the decision to begin with?
So as I said before, so we will keep this decision under review, like all visa regimes around the world. We keep them under close review, and we will continue to cooperate very closely on this issue of illegal migration, which is an increasingly difficult phenomenon that many countries around the world are grappling with. And that's something we're committed to and continue engaging with the government. As I said, we have excellent relations with the government. We have had a swathe of high-profile visits, including, as I said, His Honour, who's in the Vice President, who's in the UK right now. His Excellency, the President, visited a couple of weeks ago. That is very much a continuation, and we are seeking to continue to deepen the relationship between our two countries. And we want to make it as easy and stress-free as possible for any Botswana coming to the UK. The UK is a great place. Please do come and visit.
Absolutely. Maybe I should rephrase. I don't know if I've been completely answered. To just say, okay, how can I rephrase it? What would it take? Would maybe, just as an example, would a reduction in those who come into the UK and seek asylum, would a reduction on those numbers actually motivate you to move towards a review within a faster or shorter period of time?
So there's not
any example.
Yeah, so there isn't a set number of benchmarks that we put out. I think that's something we're quite wary of doing, of setting artificial benchmarks for a future decision. But what we say is we keep this decision under review. Of course, the visit visa is now in place, and we'll have to see the impact that has. But our expectation is that we will see asylum rates drop significantly because of the visa system that we will have in place. As I said, we'll keep it under review, but it's not something that we set out, explicit benchmarks. But we continue to engage the government, and I look forward to continuing our cooperation that we have, which is excellent on issues of border security, which are important for all countries.
Absolutely.
We have a text message. It says, is the UK now saying all Botswana are crooks wanting to abuse that good system? If so, why not just revisit the whole bilateral relations then, just to put us all in one basket and say, some of y'all abuse this and hence everybody needs a visa?
So I've lived in Botswana now for 1 year, I think 1 year, 2 months and something like 16 days.
And you don't need a visa here, right?
I don't need a visa here. And what I can say is absolutely, categorically, Botswana nationals are some of the kindest, most open, wonderful, warm people I've ever met. Of course, the United Kingdom is not saying that. In fact, what we are saying is that this visit regime is designed to support safe and secure travel while ensuring our borders remain protected. I have absolute confidence that the numbers of Botswana visiting the UK will continue to grow. We want to welcome Botswana to the UK, whether that's the Shivni scholars that I recently welcomed to the UK, who are thriving. Our brilliant scholarship program that the UK has offers master's places fully funded to the UK each year. We have some ministers and some very senior people across the country who are alumni of that program, and that's something we want to continue. Look, I understand the concern. I understand the disappointment. But of course, no, that's not what we're saying. We want to make this an easy, simple and stress-free process for Botswana to visit the UK, and we look forward to welcoming.
Another text says, we've accepted that our currency is less. Now we are being forced to accept that we are less than the British people in 2025 on the eve of our 60th independence, which, by the way, can also be backdated to tracing back to the Seretse Khama and Ruth Khama story. We've got cousins, Your Excellency, out in the UK.
I wasn't sure if that was a question, Dollar Mac.
I think it's a comment.
It's
it's a comment.
Well, I know the comment, and I do understand the strength of feeling when something like this happens. There can be a sense of feeling unfair because the vast majority of anyone traveling has absolutely the best of intentions at heart. The challenge has been that we have seen asylum cases growing significantly. That number that I quoted, over 1,300 since 2022. What we want to do is to stop that, to keep our borders secure, but we want to have a system that is clear, that is fair, that is transparent, that allows Botswana to travel to the UK and is a tool to continuing to strengthen our relationship between our two countries, whether that's in business, whether that's business or investment, whether that's in the education sector, whether that's in the arts, whether that's in sport. Congratulations, by the way, once again, for the most incredible World Championship. And I had the pleasure of meeting one of your reporters on the streets of Main Mall with my daughter a few weeks ago. The breadth and depth of our relationship is significant. We want to continue to build on that. I recognize it's a difficult decision, but I want us to move through this, and we will do everything possible to make this experience a pleasant one, a simple one, and an efficient one, so we can get more Botswana visiting to the UK, working in the UK, and studying in the UK. Thank you.
Some of our, of course, our frustrated people keep saying, what if this is also done to those that come from the UK, and say, for you from UK, you need a visa to visit Botswana?
I think any country has the absolute sovereign right to impose visa regimes in whichever way they wish, and it's not something that we would entertain. If that's a decision taken, it's a decision taken. It's around border security. It's not around. I think the important point here is a visa regime is not a value judgment on the relationship. It is simply a tool of protecting a border.
Yeah. Understandably so, Your Excellency, and of course you do say what Botswana and the UK. We have a lot of Botswana who actually left the country to go be nurses in the UK. Are there any notable impacts or effects that Botswana who are currently in the UK are going to experience?
No. If you are visiting there on holiday already, you've got your pre-booked travel. You're on holiday. You come back. That's not a problem at all on a visit. If you're studying or working, you would already have a visa, so they would not have an impact. The only impact might be your friends and family wanting to visit you. They'll need a visit visa, which they can do by going to gov.uk, going to the VAC, applying, paying the fee, and within 15 working days getting the result. What I did say is there is also a priority service for those people who are short on time. And you can pay for that, and that's means you can get the decision within 5 working days. And there's also another service where you can pay to keep your passport. But this can all be found on the website gov.uk.
Listen, be a part of the conversation. +267 395 6962. His Excellency is 8 minutes away from stepping out. You can send your voice notes or calls on +267 395 6962. Tebs, we got messages there?
Yeah, there's several messages that just came in, Your Excellency. The first one that maybe we can go to speaks to why don't we introduce a visa system? And I know you might have touched on this already, but it says, why don't we introduce a visa system for the UK? Same price like theirs, being £200. Why not just screen and not have the hefty prices attached to it?
Yeah, well, I think I'd say to your caller, obviously that question is for that question's for the government of Botswana, not for me to comment on.
Yes.
And just a question on the price. We want to make sure the system is fair, is done properly, and is transparent. That has a human resource cost and a transactional cost associated to it. This is the cost.
200 quid, bruv. Let's take some more messages, please.
All right, another one says, what happens to travelers with ETAs who are already there and will return after the transition period?
Could you repeat the question again?
What happens to travelers with ETAs who are already there and will return after the transition period?
That's a very good question. So Botswana nationals travel to the UK during the 6-week transition. If they already hold an ETA and demonstrate that they've pre-booked travel before the introduction on 14th of October, they'll be able to travel. They must also be scheduled to arrive in the UK before the 25th of November. If the arrival is scheduled after, they'll need a visa. So I think what I would say to that one is gov.uk check.
Okay, and then one just came in. It says, has there been anything done to address the so-called Botswana asylum seekers in the UK?
Yes, I think your caller might be referring to an operation that was in the UK police operation that was in the headlines some months ago. That's an ongoing investigation. What I will say is we have excellent cooperation with Botswana on these issues, and the investigation is ongoing.
Right. Let's take more calls or texts +267 395 6962 before we let His Excellency off, as news also coming your way in just a bit. Gebs FM, you're live on radio. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Well, Rapula, talk to us.
Good. On Your Excellency, I need to ask you, if a person like a minister or a deputy minister or a councillor or a mayor from like Botswana, and including a backbencher that's in parliament? Do they also need to go to this, or is it done automatically? Thank you.
All right, thanks for your call, Raps. I believe some have diplomatic passports, right?
So,
if not all.
Yeah, sorry, Dollar. Thank you, sir, and thanks so much for your question. So there is what's called an exemption vignette, which applies to certain members of government.
Can you put me on? No, I'm playing. Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell us more.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There is an what's called an exempt vignette for work, as long as it's on official travel. So the exact list of who is clarified under that is on our website. It is quite complex, I will say that. And what we are doing, this is why I have a colleague here this week who is a visa expert, and that colleague is actually spending a significant amount of time this week with the Ministry of International Relations to ensure that the details of those exempt vignettes is made clear and is transmitted to the relevant departments across government, parliament, etc. So the answer to your question is there's a lot of detail there. We'll make sure the right people have got it. Check our website. If not, do come back to us.
Let's get to text messages. We've got a very long voice note. I don't think we'll be able to play all of it, but let's do this for a second.
Good day, Gabs FM listeners, and good day to the British High Commissioner. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this important discourse. With all the media reports I've read this far, I've not heard if those from the UK are also required to get a visa before entering Botswana, or if this UK visa requirement is a reciprocal policy, and if not, why not? If it is not reciprocal, I'd like to share my lens with the British High Commissioner and fellow Botswana. So in Botswana's culture, we have a guide we use for divergent thought. Mafoko akota amante uti. All words spoken are welcome, and in fact, beautiful. So let me share mine. I've learned that we teach others how to treat us through the standards we accept. When we acquiesce to unequal arrangements, even for reasons as seemingly pragmatic as diplomacy, tourism, or economic gain, we reinforce internalized hierarchies that undermine collective well-being, which goes against Botswana's core value of Boto, Ubuntu, Utu, Vunu, Boot. On the eve of Botswana's 60th independence, we're inclined to tap on her wisdom. Through our founding values, Botswana has taught us Boto, and I have subsequently learned the intelligence inherent in this Boto. That 1 + 1 is not 2 when we use Boto. 1 + 1 is infinite possibilities. We have been taught that Moto ke Moto ka Batho. And may I add to, in this era, Moto ke Moto ka Boto. It was ingrained in us all that my humanity is bound onto others, that we are interdependent and interconnected beings. So our natural tendency is to give, with an understanding that this is reciprocal, a boomerang of sorts, that would what we give, you receive. Now the new UK visa requirement goes against this guide. I'd like to address what we feel has been the long-term psychological impact of imbalanced policies such as these, and would like the Commissioner to give us the rationale and thinking on it so we are all on the same page.
Unfortunately, it's a very long voice note. I don't know if you'd like to comment on that, or should we take more messages and we'll go back? Tebza, more messages, please, as they come in.
There's one that says the tourist visa cost quoted is almost half the cost of the return ticket. How does it work if your children are British and you regularly visit their grandparents and family? And one last one, just so that maybe you think about them as, and you hold, the other one says, and you hold a Botswana passport as their mother, but your children hold British passports. So I think it follows the one, it's the same person, just really following up a question there. The other one says the introduction of the visa is fine. Of late, genuine travelers have been returned by airlines without valid reasons. So this guarantees whether you travel or not, removes any uncertainties. Only thing is the cost. The High Commission should relook at that as it is prohibitive.
Yes, they say the tourist visa cost quoted is almost half the cost of a return ticket. Your Excellency, please, can you get to those as we're late for our news?
Yep. Okay. So yes, absolutely, it does remove the uncertainty, and I know there was uncertainty before. So we hope that at least this decision does that. Everyone will need a visa. So please just check gov.uk and you look at those specific circumstances. And there's, of course, there's other routes for looking into to longer term visas as I set out. I think the listener who left a very eloquent voice note around Boto and Ubuntu.
Yes.
And all I would say there is I think we can learn a lot from that. It's a beautiful part of culture here that I'm still very much. I'm only touching the tip of the iceberg in terms of learning about it, and I understand what the gentleman is saying, and I think that is one of the reasons what Botswana is an incredible democracy, and we witnessed the most peaceful transition that the world was put up in lights for the world to see just after my arrival, and it was an absolute honor and a pleasure to witness that. I think I've been clear on what the rationale are, so I won't say more about that. But I want to say to listeners, we're open to more questions. Please do check our website. I know this has been a disappointment, but as I said at the beginning, this is about ensuring that safe and secure travel for Botswana that want to come to the UK, whether you want to visit, whether you want to study, or whether you want to work. We remain committed to helping ensure you get there safely and securely. And on the cost, I understand it is expensive, but so is visiting the UK, and it's important we make sure that people have the right funds to visit. I'm holding you up. Sorry,
Your Excellency. I would love to continue this conversation. It's a very important conversation, and we'll continue engaging with your office and you at the British High Commission to talk more and see how we can balance this out. Thank you so much for taking time and talking to us, sir.
My absolute pleasure. Look forward to coming back soon.
Very soon.
Bringing the world closer to you. On air, online, on your mobile. This is Gabs FM News.
This hour, we cross over to China to get an update on Botswana attending cooperation seminars in the country. A very good afternoon to you with Gabs FM News at 1. I am Gilbert Manenye. Botswana and China are strengthening bilateral ties through a strategic initiative led by the China Broadcasting International Economic and Technical Cooperation Company. As part of this effort, a seminar is underway in Beijing, focusing on broadcasting operations and management for developing countries. This initiative supports a global media development, knowledge exchange, and international cooperation in the broadcasting sector. Joining us live from Beijing is Gabs FM News reporter Diana Mutsu, who is participating in the seminar. Diana, thank you for making time to speak with us at this hour.
Thank you very much, Gilbert.
Tell us about the seminar you're attending, Diana. What is it about and why is it significant?
Thank you very much. Ni hao, Dollar and Gilbert. It's a really pleasure to be in Beijing right now. So this seminar is focused on media development and international cooperation in broadcasting. So it brings together professionals from across the globe to exchange ideas, learn from China's media evolution, and explore how, technology is reshaping global communication. It's a unique platform for cross-cultural and cross-industry connections, especially as the media landscape becomes increasingly globalized, Gilbert.
What kind of experiences and learning opportunities does the seminar offer beyond the classroom?
I'd say it's a well-rounded experience, beyond the in-depth classroom sessions on media innovation and digital transformation. We've had field visits. We are yet to have field visits to tech companies like BOE and Zuta Technology, as well as immersive cultural experiences, including a hike. There's a hike coming up at the Jingguan section of the Great Wall. I think it's coming up on Friday. These visits, are set to give us a first-hand insight into China's unique blend of tradition and innovation, which I think is very essential for understanding on how media is both shaped by and shaping society.
And from your perspective, Diana, how important is international cooperation in the broadcasting and media sector today?
I believe that it's more important than ever. It's really significant. In today's world, information flows across borders in an instant, and I've seen that in China. And so collaboration, I think, is very much important to sharing not just the technology but also values, ethics, and a diverse perspective. I think seminars like this one with CBIC is set to help us build trust, understand regional approaches, and find common ground when addressing global media challenges. This is from digital transformation and content regulation.
What are some of the highlights still to come on the program?
There's a lot to look out forward to. I'd say we'll be traveling to Hangzhou and Jinhua to visit institutions like the Zhejiang University of Media and Communications, which are top broadcasting companies and cultural innovation centers. I believe that these visits, will provide insight into local media operations and emerging technologies, and how Botswana and how us from Botswana can step up, really, like countries like China.
And just before we let you go, Diana, what has been your biggest takeaway so far?
So the program officially opened yesterday, and I'd say my biggest takeaway has been the power of shared learning, whether through lectures, technology showcases, or cultural experiences, Gilbert. I think the seminar highlights how much we can achieve when we collaborate openly. I believe that media is a very powerful connector, and being here has reaffirmed that global cooperation. And being in Beijing has made it let me know that it is indeed possible. And I think engaging with other people, other broadcasters from different countries, has really opened my eyes. And I look forward to sharing more insights on this trip.
Diana, thank you for those insights from Beijing. We wish you the best for the remainder of the seminar.
Thank you very much, Gilbert. And I'd really like to send a shout out and thank the Chinese Embassy in Botswana for making this trip for both Keigo, Rory, and I possible.
GABS FM News, bringing the world closer to you.